All right, I'm gonna have to probably start this again. I don't want to do a fragmented video because this is just a quick Knicks rant. I just kind of started on something. Again, I want it pretty much clear that on this channel we don't go from one extreme to the next. Like, we don't flap in the wind. You know, you can see a flag that's hanging on the side of a building, and on a windy day that flag is gonna go everywhere. Oh, well, actually, no. Flag. There's a difference between a kite and a flag. That's my analogy. A flag is planted. A flag might sway in the wind. You know, trees sway in the wind. They're planted firmly in the ground. A kite will go wherever, because it's on a string. Will go where the wind takes it, right? And so, you know, I'm starting off with a boring kite flag analogy, but I want y'all to get this. I'm not a kite. I'm a flag. I'm planted. So what the wind has this day, I'm not going to fly like a kite can go to a kite can, if you let the kite go can go to end up in Ohio from New York. You understand what I'm saying? Depending on where the wind takes it. I'm not that. I'm a firmly planted flag. I'm a firmly planted tree. My leaves are gonna sway. All right. You see a game last night? What last night proved with the Knicks? And that's the theme here. What last night proved is that the Knicks can play with anybody. And I get it, right? You'll say, well, Memphis is flawed, blah, blah, blah. No, Memphis was a top 5 team. And now, as a result, the Knicks, let's just say, are now the fifth best team in the league because we had the same record as Memphis with the tiebreaker, being that we won the one head-to-head matchup so far. I believe we only played them once. It could have been. I could be wrong. I don't remember losing to Memphis, to be honest. I remember a couple of years ago we played Memphis on opening day, right? Again, the Knicks had an all-around effort. Shout out to the guys. Shout out to these guys, the Knicks. 7 guys in double figures, right? 14 that had no bench. They have 3 guys in double figures. The guy that didn't get double-digit scoring, Josh Hart, got 10 rebounds. Played another great all-around game as usual. Was creating shots. Actually, all 3 of them. Josh Hart played 7 seconds of the third quarter, from what I understand. I'm in the fourth quarter, and Cat and Brunson didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter. So once again, when it comes down to it, whether you have Cleveland, Boston, whether you have them as a favorite, what last night can prove, even without playing either one of those teams, is that the Knicks can play with anybody. The Knicks are in that. Again, this is nothing that I needed to confirm, because I can go back to the Knicks beating. So, all right, we're 0-5 against the top 4, right? We're 0-5, I believe. We lost 2 to OKC. We lost 1 to Houston. We got all those teams coming up, except for OKC, because we're done with the season series with OKC. But we lost 2 to Houston. 2 to OKC, 1 to Boston, 1 to Cleveland. We got Cleveland and Boston coming up soon. We got Houston coming up soon. And I guess if you're holding out hope, listen, at the end of the day, Memphis was the 5th best team. We did what we needed to do last night, and we exploited a lot of Memphis' weaknesses. Again, when it comes down to it, the Knicks have played a lot of good teams very strong. So if you want to sit there and say the elite is the top 4, again, I believe the Knicks are in that top 5. I do believe we're a better team than Memphis. I do believe when it's all said and done, we'll be a better team than Houston. I believe there's a 4-team race right now, and 3 of them in the East. I think last night, and I think that was also what was proven. The West ain't as good as you guys think. Because let's keep it real. I'll get into the Lakers later because I want to make a post about the Lakers. Not a video, but a post. The Lakers are 26-18. They're 8 games over 500. They do have the blowout win against Boston, which more of a mirage than people might would think. That was kind of a mirage game because Boston was coming on a back-to-back after a hard game against Clippers. But they have a negative point differential despite being 8 games over 500. Okay, they still have a negative point differential by like 1 point a game, 1.1 a game, which is significant at this point of the season. That means they've been outscored by opponents by 50, despite winning 8 more games than they've lost. Right around 50 points total, which is, again, that's you think it's not significant. The Knicks have played about 50 games, and they have a positive of 7, meaning they've outscored their team by 350. Now, I've noticed. Again, like last night, what was so great is, again, it's one of those games where I felt like the whistle was key. I mean, Jalen Brunson got 4 fouls. Right? I watched the Kings. A highlight of their announcers whining, and it was actually so comical, given that. I mean, the Knicks, in my opinion, and even when we're in our own home, get the shittiest whistle, I believe, of any team in the league. But this has become the theme where, you have coaches that do it, and they work the officials, and they criticize the officials. I thought we're not supposed to do that in this day and age, right? Criticizing officials. But, whatever. Okay, the media can do it. Coaches and teams can. I mean, Nick Nurse did it in the Pacers series last year, right? And wound up getting them. Oh no, not Nick Nurse. Well, actually, Nick Nurse did it in the Philly series, and Rick Carlisle did it in the Pacers series, and got them game 3. Got the craziest whistle in game 3. So without that, I think the Knicks would have went up 3-0, and we would have won that series in 5. Because I think we would have won that series coming back home. But, the history is history. We're on to new things. The Pacers are garbage. Oh, shout out to Trae Young. Since that dice roll y'all all hyped up, I believe Atlanta's the 10th seed right now. The Knicks are about 8 games ahead of them. I mean, I'm just saying. Y'all hyped up the dice roll, and that means Trae Young owns the Knicks despite having a 7-16 career record. 4-1 in the playoffs, but, that whole team is gone, right? Other than Mitchell Robinson, who didn't play and hasn't played a game this season. Again, the next thing I'll get on is Mitchell Robinson, what he'll mean when he'll come back. I'll just address it here. I think when Mitchell Robinson comes back, the bench will be even stronger. I mean, this is the thing, right? The Knicks are a team. They get criticized for playing their starters too long. By the same token, notice that their starters are not always hurt. Memphis basically lost the season last year because they had to make guys like Scottie Pippen Jr. their star. And shout out to Scottie Pippen Jr. because he's proven to become a very key, good rotational piece. A guy that can hold down the fort and play, basically Ja's backup at this point. But he even you can even play him at the 2 with Ja, so he doesn't just get the minutes that Ja sits down. Ja plays 36 minutes. He don't just play 12. He'll get about 20 minutes. They got a good bench. Actually, right? The team with the best bench, and again, the reason they got the best bench is because they've had the most injuries where they've had to put up skeleton crew. They've had a lot of injuries the last couple of seasons. But last night, Memphis had everybody. All dogs was on hand. I mean, I venture to believe. I mean, really, you had Triple J, that big 3, Triple J, Ja, and Bane. So, you can't use the injury excuse. Knicks didn't beat an injured team. They beat a full blown top 3 team in the West, top 5 team in the league, according to record, and now the Knicks have it. So Again, like I don't go too far high or low. That's one thing I never do. Especially when it comes to my Knicks. You might find it to be a bias, but the things that I've said, the things that I required, I made some statistical requirements from OG, Bridges, and Towns. You know, pretty much knew what you were getting from Hart and Brunson. And then the bench, as again, McBride was going to be your main guy. He looked. Oh, he had 2 great dunks last night, and I think he had a great start to the season, and he wound up because of the hamstring pull, looking a little slow on his way back. He hadn't been making the threes at the rate. His field goal percentage dropped, and that's when you have an hamstring injury and a knee injury. I think he had a combination hamstring and knee. Yeah, you're gonna look a little different. But he had 2 dunks. It made me think, okay, he's there, he's back. So the idea, again, I'm gonna say this again with Tibbs. I love this people that I don't believe that Tibbs run players into the ground. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that because I believe the best way to condition yourself for basketball is by playing basketball. So the more minutes you play, the stronger you will get. I don't believe in that wearing down shit because the people that practice the most load management be the most injured. I don't believe in it. I believe all sports have done this, where we've softened the players so much. We've taken the toughness out of the game. We've taken the toughness out of preparation, and just general. We give rest to baseball players who don't exert themselves that much physically. I understand the pitchers, but the pitchers now get a pitch count. When pitchers of the past just kept going, they gave you 200-300 innings a year. Now you'll be lucky if somebody gives you 180. That's like a big thing. So, it is what it is. The condition of the athlete is different. And again, I believe the condition of the Knicks will be fine. I don't believe we'll be tired. Everybody else will be tired because they've rested. Again, the more you run, the more you run, especially early in your 20s, the Knicks only have one player on a team in their 30s, and that's Campaign, who's 30. The whole team is 94, baby, and like Josh Hart is 29, Brunson is 28, Cat is 29. Okay, in a couple of years maybe, but this year right now, you're still a 30s, 20 something. I don't believe in that wearing down shit, please. And we got 4 rookies that aren't even playing in their early 20s. One teenager. So I don't believe in that mess, man. Yeah, frankly, I don't believe in it at all. So, again, the Knicks have proven that they're, whether you believe they're even a favorite or come in Boston's league, I'll get into Boston later because I believe a few chinks have been shown, the same ones. Again, that's why I'm 10 toes down. Because the same chinks that I thought Boston would have, you're starting to show. You're starting to show. They take too many threes. But it's not even the fact because they make a good enough percentage but it's not. A team can get them in a 7-game series and wear them down. They're not exactly the toughest team. Oh yeah, they got a dynamic group of scorers, no doubt about it. They play great defense. But so do a lot of other teams. And I don't think that they overwhelm anybody with their talent. I just don't. I mean, honestly, I don't care how tired they were. The Lakers are not a good team. And the Lakers weren't even beating them with the big 2. They weren't beating them with AD and LeBron. They were beating them with Austin Reeves and Hachimura. That's what they were doing. So I don't buy into what the Celtics. Y'all tell me the Celtics are this juggernaut. I had never done it. Listen, let's talk basketball. They're not. If they were what you say, they would be running through these teams. There were certain teams that they'll struggle against. They got nobody to struggle against. Look, the Knicks doing what we did. We beat a team by 40. It was in the top 5. I want you guys to understand that. That's not me coming to a rebel, because we did this to Denver. We did this to Orlando, even though Orlando's kind of fell off. But Orlando at the time, they had won 11 of their last 12 games recently. We've done this to good teams before. We've done it to Milwaukee. Whether y'all believe that's still the same championship, Milwaukee is still a good team that you don't want to see Giannis and that supporting cast in a first round, because if you're a Boston, you would not want to be the 3 seed, seeing them as a 6 seed. So we can get into a lot of things later, man. But again, at the end of the day, the Knicks are a championship contending team. Whether they win a championship, we'll get into that story later, but whether they are a contender, and they have as good a chance as any of the OKC, as the Cleveland, and again, we have no victories over the good teams, over the elite teams, but a lot of blowout wins against the good teams. So here we are, and last night probably was the best one of the season. So that's where I am, and I'm just going to give the Knicks their props. They deserve it. On to the next one. We got Denver. I know Denver might be hopping mad, but they coming into town. We went into Denver and beat the hell out of them. Now, last year we beat the hell out of them. They could say what happened to Boston, right? Last end of a back-to-back. Of a road trip. You just, they were hanging out too long, and we beat them on a Sunday matinee game, I believe. And they were hanging out too long on a Saturday night. Well, this time we beat the hell out of them in their own home. So, it is what it is. All right, guys. Call you later.